What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Gakis, and today we've got some brand spanking new Destiny 2 news, courtesy of the Bungie weekly update that has just gone live, revealing official information. And so, let's get started. Now, first things first, what's been going on this week in Destiny 2? Well, the main thing is that on the Tuesday weekly reset, we had the launch of the new Arms Week event. And this event did actually cause quite a bit of controversy within the community. Now, why is that? Well, it all has to do with this event homepage, and more specifically, this reward track. Now, as you can see, it contains various rewards, but most notably, 2 holofoil versions of the new Arms Week weapons are up for grabs in it. And how do you increase your rewards track? Well, you have to do your daily and weekly challenges. But on top of that, you also have reroll chips. These can be used to swap out a daily challenge, or you can use them on an already completed daily challenge slot, and it will give you a fresh daily challenge. But here's the thing, guys. Here's why people are mad. To max out your reward track, you need to be perfect. Literally perfect. You can't miss a single day. You can't miss a single challenge. In fact, you can't even swap out a challenge. Apparently, if you do that, you won't have enough to earn all the rewards in that reward track. So that has people very upset. That just seems incredibly punishing to free-to-play players and really pushes you to spend silver. In my opinion, it is just too much. I mean, for goodness sakes, you should be able to miss a single day at least and still max out the reward track. And the reward track isn't even that insane. The rewards of the holofoils aren't actually that good, but it's just the principle of making people grind literally every day. They can't miss a single challenge, guys. It's just a bit too much. However, we have a huge update to this issue that came out while I was editing this video. The Destiny 2 team official account just tweeted, "We have resolved an issue where XP for the Arms Week event was not being granted upon activity completion within the portal. Players will now be able to progress through the Arms Week event reward track by completing activities in the portal as intended, in addition to completing the daily and weekly challenges." So, we don't know exactly how much progress you're going to get. Again, they just put this out, but that should solve the main complaint about this event, that the reward track was so stingy and you had to do everything. A little bit suspicious that doing literally everything gave you exactly the amount you needed for the rewards track, but then suddenly they missed this whole portal XP thing. But regardless, super happy they did this, and this should make people a lot more happy about Arms Week. Aside from that, however, I actually don't mind Arms Week. I think it's just a small little 1-week event. Not everything needs to be a massive, dawning style event where the entire tower changes, and the 2 new weapons that were added are actually sick. Specifically, the new Phonotrea Farah hand cannon, the first ever spread shot hand cannon in the game. Guys, I made a video on it yesterday. Absolutely check that out. It's linked in the top right of the screen right now because, wow, this thing can do some insane damage up close. It can get perks we've never seen on primary weapons before. It's just a really, really cool gun. So super glad that has been added to the game. And Arms Week itself is just kind of a simplistic, small 1-week event. It's not overstaying its welcome. I actually don't mind it, right? It's simple to grind the telemetry. You just do the activities in the portal you were already doing, and then you can focus these cool, really good new weapons. Like, I really don't mind that as long as we also get some of the bigger events like Solstice of Heroes, which Bungie actually reveals in this week's update that just came out. So let's jump over to the brand new information within the TWID. First of all, guys, Bungie does talk about Arms Week. Here is the little blurb. Again, we kind of already talked about that. Then we have the coil arrives at the portal. The portal has received a new activity this week, the coil. This activity was launched during Season of the Wish in the Year of Lightfall, known for its mix of intense combat and interesting modifiers that players could buy from Riven. It was a perfect candidate for our new activity hub in the Edge of Fate. That's great, Bungie. If it doesn't have extra bonus rewards, I'm not doing it. I honestly don't understand why they don't launch these kind of new activities with some fanfare. if the coil came out and it was like, hey, the coil's live, by the way, for the next 72 hours, it has double loot, people would be so much more hyped about it. But if it doesn't, people are just going to keep grinding Solo Ops Caldera until their eyes bleed. So, moving on from there, guys, then we have the big one. Solstice starts next week, guys. So, Bungie says Arms Week was our first event for the Edge of Fate, but Solstice is right around the corner. It's going to last 2 weeks, and there are a few things changing compared to how we celebrated in the past. First of all, guys, we get this image of Solstice. So, some pretty cool stuff here. First of all, I don't even know what weapon that front Titan is holding. Is that like a heavy grenade launcher? It looks completely different than any other heavy grenade launcher in the game. Maybe it's a rocket launcher, actually. Cool looking weapon. You can also see on the left we have what looks like an SMG, and then on the right we have a bow. And of course, this beach aesthetic, this is like the holofoil versions of these weapons. I actually do love how they're like holofoil beaches. That's actually really sick. All right, now moving on from there, guys, they say the goal of the event is to use the Solstice Forge to create a full set of armor and then make it glow. Given that we have a new system of stats and armor in place with the Edge of Fate, it's probably a good moment to earn a few sets. Well, if they're high tier Bungie, I'm on board. They say, but let's talk about what's changing. For starters, in lieu of a Bonfire Bash activity this year, we're adding a plethora of modifiers to portal activities. So no new activity, just modifiers to the existing activities. These modifiers are inspired by solar energy, very fitting for the Solstice theming. You might want to recognize some of their effects if you have paid attention to the artifact in the past. So we have only listed 4. You'll have to discover the rest for yourself. So first of all, we have Hot Potato. Carryable solar flares occasionally drop from defeated combatants. Passing it between players increases the amount of damage it will do. Then you have Fired Up. Dealing damage and final blows from solar sources raises the heat meter. Once full, your weapons will cause solar explosions. Then you have Class Healing. Heal yourself when using your class ability. That one is incredibly good for, hunters especially. Then you have Igniter. Precision hits against scorched combatants cause ignitions. That's actually kind of crazy. They then say these modifiers will rotate each day on portal matchmaking activities, but can be selected anytime with custom difficulty selection, with one exception. Hot Potato will stay on each day for portal matchmaking activities. Another addition coming with this Solstice is the new Solstice Scorched Crucible playlist. You can imagine what weapon is the main character here, the Scorch Cannon. Both teams will be able to use them in Clash, Control, and Rift game modes, so revel in the chaos, and don't forget you can charge this cannon after shooting it for some extra area damage. As you play during the 2 weeks of Solstice, you'll earn some free rewards in its dedicated event home, from a unique emblem to a ghost shell to some holofoil weapons. So don't forget completing your daily and weekly challenges so you can progress the event track to earn all of them. This version of the event home has a new and improved reward shop where you'll be able to purchase weapons directly up to a tier 4 depending on your guardian rank, as well as up to tier 4 weapon and armor engrams. There will also be glimmer stacks and enhancement cores if you need them. So, very good, you can get higher tier rewards, but they say depending on your guardian rank. That's also the case right now for Arms Week. You need to be Guardian rank 9 before you have the option to purchase tier 4s, which is pretty brutal. A lot of people are a pretty far way off from Guardian rank 9, guys. So we'll have to wait and see. Like, they're launching 2 events back to back, so a lot to do in Destiny, which is kind of nice. But no new activity is not what I wanted to hear, especially when one of the biggest complaints in the community right now is that people are getting burnt out grinding years-old activities in the portal for level. They want something new and fresh, and Solstice doesn't seem to be offering that. Now, yes, the new modifiers actually seem really sick and powerful, but if they reduce your score, no one's gonna use them. Everyone's trying to reach B+ and A tiers, and to do that, you need to put on a bunch of negative modifiers. If these are like every other positive modifier and actually reduce your score threshold, literally no one is gonna use these. So they had better like not affect your score, or else again, they won't get used at all. Hopefully the weapons are sick. They certainly look sick to make up for this, but I'm already seeing pushback and negative sentiment about this new announcement, guys. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Moving on from there, Bungie talks about Trials of Osiris being back. They say, after 2 weeks where other activities got their well-deserved time in the spotlight, it's time for Trials of Osiris to return. Starting tomorrow, our endgame PvP game mode will be available to players that own the Edge of Fate expansion until the following reset. Pick up a Trials passage or a Lighthouse passage, depending on your preference, and put on your best weapons. The map will be Burnout. They continue, Saint 14 didn't want to change his weekend pastime much, and he has only disabled the power level disadvantages in this new iteration. That doesn't mean he hasn't been busy. There are new rewards to earn. For starters, there's a new set of armor for each class. And on top of that, Saint has secured 5 weapons, including the second ever spread shot hand cannon. We're getting another spread shot hand cannon starting tomorrow. So first of all, you have the Auric Disabler. It's a strand precision frame auto rifle. Then you have the Aurelius Neutralizer, a kinetic spread shot hand cannon, which kind of cool, like it goes in the other slot as the Phonotria Fera. Then you have the Aisha's Embrace, that's a returning one, Void rapid fire frame scout rifle. You have the Forgiveness, another returning one, the Arc aggressive frame sidearm. Then you have the Unwavering Duty, another returning one, a solar adaptive frame machine gun. Now importantly, guys, all of these will be acquirable up to, tier 5s, so they're in the new tiering system, and also armor. Don't forget, this new Trials armor will have a totally new armor set bonus that we've never seen before, so that is going to be very cool. But Bungie then says, during the first 6 weeks of uninterrupted Trials weekends, there won't be a featured weekly weapon. That means you will be earning all of them while playing your matches, with wins having a higher chance of them dropping. We will have featured weapons again on September 9th, shortly after the Ash and Iron major update launches, and 2 more weapons enter the Trials loot pool. We'll talk more about them when that comes closer. For now, remember that only the Lighthouse passage allows you to go to the Lighthouse, so choose wisely when visiting Saint. Put together a powerful build, see what stats fit your playstyle the best, and start earning new tiered Trials weapons. Gonna be interesting to see like how you get the higher tiers. If it's like, what seems to be basically everything else in the game, it's going to be based on your level and or Guardian rank. Moving on from there, they say more support comms for the Edge of Fate. As we progress to week 3 of the Edge of Fate, we have more to share about some issues players have encountered while playing. Some of these have already been shared on our social media channels and will serve as a reminder, but we are also expanding to ensure that missed patch notes, among other changes, are including. So here are the missing patch notes, guys. And this has also caused a lot of confusion and controversy within the community. I'll say right now, like, this is one of the most annoying things when new DLCs go live, is that people just discover buffs and nerfs that Bungie forgot to include in the patch notes. I don't know how that happens, but it makes it so that your build that you expect to do something isn't doing that thing, and it happens that, one of the most obvious examples, the speaker sight got nerfed to crap in the Edge of Fate, and like, they didn't say anything about it, so people are rocking their speaker sight on the raid day 1, and it's just doing way less. Anyways, guys, here's what they're changing. So, for Solar, Ember of Benevolence had its energy regen tuned during the stat rework. The amount of energy regen was reduced from 4 times to 3 times, and the duration of the regen was increased by 1 second. Touch of Flame for the Warlock was tuned during the stat rework. The damage of solar and fusion grenades when enhanced by Touch of Flame was reduced by 10%. Exotic Armor, Speaker Sight, this is what I'm talking about. Turret lifetime was reduced from 15 seconds to 9 seconds. Evisceration. And you just talk about it's still worth using, but sad. Then the Wings of Sacred Dawn no longer reloads your weapons from reserves. The health versus shields. So, player health stun, the time it takes the red part of the health bar to start regenerating, is equivalent to 100 of the old recovery stat. Player health regen is equivalent to 20 of the old recovery stat. The health stun and health regen tuning is intentional to get injured guardians out of the danger zone quickly while leaving room for the health stat to be viable. Then for player shields, the shield stun and shield regen is equivalent to 20 of the old recovery, while your health stat is below 100. So, the problem with that, and you can see their explanation for that, but it's like, they said your recovery is going to be set at 40 in an old TWAB. I remember it, I read it, I put it in my video. So it's like, okay, well, it's not, so your recovery isn't equivalent to 40, it's actually equivalent to 100 or 20, depending on whether it's shields or health that are regenning. Like, okay. Anyways, moving on from there, they're currently investigating the Warlock. And they say that players are feeling the Warlock is kind of left behind. That's true aside from... There's a couple of Warlock builds that are really good. I might make some videos on them, but unfortunately, yeah, it is kind of left behind the absurdity of what the Titan and the Hunter can do right now. For Titan, investigated interaction where Unbreakable on Prismatic Titan doesn't appear to work as intended with Shackle Grenades. Then we have Exotic Armor. We are looking into some issues regarding the following Exotic Armor. You can see it right here, guys. Then reported issues for the Warlock, just like the damage reduced on Handheld Supernova. Sun Bracers having a problem. Titan Throwing Hammers have a really weird cooldown where, well, actually what happens is if you do Throwing Hammer and it bounces off something and it'll go through you. You can't like pick it up again until it stops momentum, which kind of kills that entire build. And I'm just going to show you guys all the other problems going on right now that Bungie has acknowledged. Oh boy! Okay, the Desert Perpetual investigation. We are investigating reports of cheating with fire teams who cleared the Desert Perpetual contest mode, breaking our code of conduct and or cheating to complete contest difficulty or other activities is a bannable offense, and players benefiting from cheating can also be subject to punishment. If you suspect someone has cheated, report them here. Yeah, so people have already gone through the stats of all the teams who completed contest mode, and it turns out that out of 600 teams who got the contest mode clear, 400 of them were cheating. And this is based on incredibly obvious stats. You know, they were completing the final encounter in like one phase and stuff like that. One person was getting all the kills because they were cheating. So like an insane 66% of teams who cleared were cheating. Absurd. And we're gonna have to see what Bungie does. So far they haven't done anything, and I hope that they bring down the ban hammer here. They also talk about raid and dungeon difficulty scaling. So, they say they've been watching feedback over the past few weeks on raid and dungeon difficulty, and these are the following changes that are planned for future updates. First of all, they're updating the difficulty for legacy raid and dungeon activities, so you will no longer be at -10 power. That's going away, you're just going to be at parity with the enemies. Also, they're updating the difficulty and the combined mastery triumph in the Desert Perpetual raid to address player feedback. So they say the base combat difficulty will be lowered by 10 power. Enemies will deal less damage and players will be able to deal more damage. I think I saw it was around like a 20% increase in your damage you're going to be getting. It is actually a big deal here, guys. On top of that, they're lowering the Cutthroat Combat Raid feat, specifically the combat difficulty, by 10 power. So it used to put you 40 light below enemies, now it's only going to be 30 light below enemies. And that's going to make doing like 5 feet raid runs to get those potential tier 5s a lot easier. They also say, again, they're lowering the combined mastery triumph to only require a single completion at base difficulty, which will upgrade gear rewards by 1 tier depending on the number of feats active. So again, this is absolutely huge. Right now, you have to do 5 runs. You have to beat each boss 5 times and complete a run with 3 feats before you get this triumph, and this triumph is huge. Once you get it done, you'll never get a tier 1 again. It's going to be tier 2 with no feats, and again, it's going to really start to snowball from there. I did a whole video on how the raid feats like unlock system works and how to increase the tiers. Definitely check it out. It's linked right up above. But like doing that stuff, a lot of people were like mad at me because I was talking about how raids work, and they're like, well, I don't raid. It's like, okay, then okay. Anyways, it's going to be a lot easier. Like the raid itself is literally going to be easier. Enemies will do less damage to you. You're going to do more damage. And also, you have to beat the raid way less times to get significantly better rewards, guys. Moving on from there, sprint bug, massive issue, super annoying. They say that next Tuesday, August 5th, in that 0.05 update, they might actually fix it. That's awesome. And then moving on from there, they say budget your build in the Desert Perpetual raid. This weekend, 6 teams of streamers from around the world are equipping their prismatic subclasses and hitting the new Desert Perpetual raid in the global Destiny 2 creator event, Budget Your Build. So shout out to Sammy Cat, Bo Expert, and the brain behind this event. So before they even enter the raid, each player is given a small amount of virtual money to buy their abilities, aspects and fragments, and exotic armor. Then for each encounter or additional challenge completed, everyone gets additional money to upgrade their builds. Okay, so here are all the different teams. I'm going to show them on screen right now and the time at which they are doing it. Of course, links to their channels are going to be in the TWAB, which is linked in the description of this video. And they say each region will be giving away 1 copy of the Year of Prophecy Ultimate Edition to 1 lucky guardian, and also you can get the All That emblem, as you can see right here. Moving on from there, guys, we have the closing brief, the last like intel thing they keep putting in all these TWABs. Okay, there it is. And then we have some Bungie rewards that await you on Kepler, guys. This is a stretched image for sure. I don't know why it's so stretched. But here you guys go. You can earn some pins and prints and stuff like that. And the Bungie Foundation campaign wrap up. You can see the information right here, guys. Guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickGakis, that is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.